right, we're live with Erik Helgesen, President, Co-founder, PayMore Electronics. Erik, we've been on a lot of calls together with a lot of groups that have become franchisees, but this one is more focused on the tech. And to really kick it off, as I mentioned earlier, you don't build the tech platform and go, well, what are we going to use it for? You sort of have something and go, we have a problem. What can we do to solve it? And your guys' tech was the answer, and you spearheaded that and took that from the ground up. So I think to kick it off, it's, tech's such a big part of what PayMore does, the systems, the appeal for people. If you can start from the beginning, when you guys realized, what were you doing to begin with, and what did you look at tech going, how can we make this better?
Thanks, Nate. Thanks for having us. So I think the first thing to consider here is that we're operating in an industry that neglected tech for a long time, right? So we're in the secondhand industry. That's been highly stigmatized. It's been operating the same way for a long time, and nobody's really looked at it under the lens that my partner Steven and I have looked at it, and that's to increase the customer experience. And in order to do that, technology played a big part in that. So when we first started off in our store in Massapequa many moons ago, we quickly realized that we needed something robust to keep track of these devices and to increase that customer experience. It was taking forever to get people in and out. We didn't have a database full of pricing. We didn't really have what we needed at our fingertips to make people want to come back and to change that secondhand experience where they're not standing in line, they're not waiting, it's not taking forever, we're not handwriting things. So that was really when it was born. It was like, we know that we have something special here because of all the traffic we have and all the people coming in and the devices we're buying and selling, and the volume is incredible. How do we get that organized in a fashion that's A, compliant with local law enforcement, B, efficient, so we can continue to scale, and C, one of the most important things out of all this, put that back down onto the customer to give them a better experience. That's really where it all started.
And so what's the evolution? Because I feel like in the past you said it was spreadsheets. And how do you go from spreadsheets to, we just built our own point of sale system, to evolving to where it is now?
So, we speak about this a lot in the office, and you have to kind of take the lumps while you're operating and learn from them, and then look at it from a tech standpoint and say, how can we get past this on a bigger scale, and how do we solve the next problem now that we have a head start on that original issue? So, when you're building a software platform or technology, you have to have a deep understanding of the business, where you want to bring it, and start architecting out the right way there. So over the years, this is a culmination of a lot of mistakes that were solved, and it's not just this fancy product now that we can roll out for new franchisees that simplify and automate. It's things that every line of code, every kind of new release was something to solve a problem that we went through and either lost some time, lost some money, or lost some sleep. So.
And I can't imagine the rabbit hole that becomes as you start to go in and, as you're building yourself. Was there ever an aha moment where you maybe released it internally and go, we're onto something now, and we're seeing, we're feeling the results?
That happens a lot. Again, you have to face these problems in the real business setting to solve it, and then once you solve that through technology, that starts to open up different doors. And the way that we look at it here from a software development perspective is we want to develop platforms for our franchisees and to make things easier for them, but also to grow off those platforms. For instance, our QR code that we're rolling out, that's more of a platform-based system where we can continually build on top of that. I don't want to get too far into what that does, but we look at it as we're building our iPhone moments out into the public, and then those become filled with our apps and other revenue-generating ways for the franchisees.
And when you're building out these platforms, what's your North Star? Because I can imagine there's all these different directions you can go. And so what keeps you guys going a certain direction? Is it efficiencies, redundancies, guest satisfaction, or is it all that together? It's got to at least check certain boxes for you guys to really put the time, effort, and money into it.
Yeah, I mean, we go through those moments often, and a lot of that comes from our transparency with our franchisees and the managers, and even staff that comes on day one. They're giving us feedback, which is important to listen to. So there's a lot of ideas floating around. There's a lot of things that come across the desk here, but really is you need to focus on the core efficiencies and say, is this going to make the bottom line better for the franchisee? If it is, we can invest the time and the money and the resources into developing that. There's going to be some times when you get 90% done with something that it has to get scrapped back down because you didn't think of that end result and how that would play out. So luckily we've been doing this for quite some time, and myself in particular with my background, so we avoid a lot of that burnout once you get to 90% completion. But I guess really the answer to that, the true North Star, is just keeping the franchisee in mind and looking at it from their perspective. Can we get less clicks in our software? Can we make things easier for the employees? Can we make even just the job more enjoyable for employees, which translates back to the customer and really hits back home with the customer experience? So it's all those things.
And speaking of franchisees, PayMore's been super fortunate. There's that baseline franchisees just continue to rise in terms of what they're coming to the table with, either owning multiple, up to 50, 60, 70 restaurant units in the retail space, 200 plus units. As they come in the system, because naturally you're going to have some blind spots because it's what you know. What kind of value have franchisees added in really pushing the tech forward?
I mean, we can't even quantify the value there. It's huge. I mean, these guys are coming in from 50, 60 units in Domino's and Firehouse Subs in particular, and the operational expertise that they bring to the table, and then we can sit down with them and say, hey, let's obviously we're not selling food, and we're not operating in that arena, but we could learn things from them, and we do, and they give us great intel, and it's chopped off a ton of redundancies even in what we're doing. And we look at ourselves as the experts, but it's important as a franchisor to select those franchisees and award them the territories based off what they can bring to the table. It's a partnership. We're all in this together. So it's not just selling territories, it's bringing people in that can help us, and those people help us with our tech, and we're grateful for it, and so are they.
Training is one of those hidden costs that nobody really we know it's there, but it's not on a P&L. It's not there's no line item for training and the time it takes. How has the technology sped up the training, made it more efficient, and have employees hit the ground running faster?
Yeah, so we've always looked at our company as a tech company, a data company, and the way that we've structured our communications and our workflow and our processes, they've all been recorded for many, many years. So as the employees are working, the managers are working, the franchisees are building stores, we're recording all of these metrics and KPIs, and often find issues in there and solutions that we pull back into a database, and we're able to reserve back out. So over the years, we've become more efficient, which allows us to train the staff quicker, faster, and easier. Our goal is to have franchisees come in, managers, employees, sit down day one and start making a difference in their business. So we've done that very well. We're very good at that. A lot of that is attributed to our support staff that we have here in the corporate office. They've been with us a combination of 35 years together. So we have the answers, and just kind of coupling in the processes and the patterns of the employees that we've seen, we're able to get that back out. And of course, Nate, there's a little bit of AI in there, and there's always a little bit of AI in what we're doing. So that's really helped escalate our support over the last 6 to 7 months.
In groups that I've worked with that have become PayMore franchisees, something they hit on right away to me is one, the speed of communication from day one. There's not find a spot and then this triggers this and this. Now you get immersed into sort of the day-to-day. You guys hit them with everything day one and really immerse them in that. Was that always been the case? Or is that something as your tech evolved, you were able to do that with franchisees?
It was the evolution of tech. We knew that we're a one type of business, right? So we're not another burger place. We're not another oil changing company where we can, push staff between it and share resources. So we wanted to build a virtual environment that a franchisee can come into day one and be able to immerse themselves into the pulse of the company and see the buying, the selling, the trading, see the staff talking, the management talking. So we developed somewhat of a group server with all these things in there that's segmented out by channels that allows these franchisees to come in and start living the PayMore life right away. So by the time they do find a place that they want to lease or move forward on, they already have a grasp on how to operationally be successful.
And you hear technology, especially when people talk about social media being this very divisive thing. I hear the opposite when I talk to franchisees. They bring up community a lot because it's a very encouraging platform. It's very supportive. And you mentioned director support, but they mentioned it was, the guys are great on that side, but the community of support is something they've never felt before. And I don't know if you could touch on that much, or if it's something that's organically grown to this where everybody's supporting each other, and sort of there's this pride, I guess, in helping out and being the one that gives the answer.
I think that starts with having great franchisees, and those franchisees are hiring great staff, and they come into these servers that we have, and they start to feel like they're part of the greater cause, what we're trying to do here, and they start jumping in. Day 2, day 3, they'll come in, they'll ask questions, they'll make friends in there. I mean, we have over 450 bodies in this server, so they share their experiences, and then oftentimes, like you said, they'll start answering questions because they want to be part of it, and we see a lot of rising stars across the company, and we're very, very grateful for the staff we have, and we try to foster that work environment for them to step up and succeed in our company, and they're doing it, and it's great, and there is a sense of community and family across it.
You mentioned the two letters that's everybody's talking about now, AI, and it sounds like you guys obviously have integrated that in some sense. Do you see that playing a bigger role down the road as you guys are able to wrap your tech around it, or immerse it into your tech? I'm just coming from somebody who knows little to none about AI.
Well, I mean, the first thing you got to know about it is if you don't have the data, you don't have the AI. And you'll hear a lot of people talking about AI and how they're using it for their business, or how they're gonna use it for their business and this and that. But we have the data. We are a data company. We've been, again, logging all our buy, sell, trade transactions, all of our channels, all of our shipping, down to tracking numbers, down to lead times. We've built one of the biggest product catalogs that exist out there for electronics and grading systems. So we have these things, and sprinkling the AI, it comes easy to us because we have the data. You'll often see companies trying to institute an AI module to be more efficient or handle some communications, but they don't have that ongoing data which keeps it relevant. There's a programming term that always stuck with me from day one, which is junk in, junk out. And what that really means is that if you don't have the quality data, that it's going to, programming wise, it's going to spit out junk, and that's the same thing that's happening with AI.
You mentioned the product catalog you guys built and the how you're able to price things. If you can remember before all of this, what was that process to get somebody through from saying hello to agreeing to something, they're out the door, to now? How much has that sped up, and how much of the pain points have been resolved?
I mean, 100-fold. It's every day we're becoming more efficient and more powerful because of how we collect and use the data that we're harvesting from all the stores on a live basis. So, when a customer walks in now, as opposed to 5 years ago, we've cut that transaction time down in spades, probably 5x right there. But what really shines here is when we have a new staff member that comes on, and they can get right up into our operating system, find a price, or they're processing a device, they're testing it, it's walking them through it, it's generating descriptions, it's generating pricing. That used to take months and months, and you used to have somebody that had a lot of background in electronics, especially in handhelds like phones, tablets, smartwatches, those types of things. That's eliminating the need to have that background to come in and start making your store money day one just by logging into the system. So I would say we can't even really put a number on it. Even when we start to roll out new features, just traveling around the country with my partner Steven, going to these grand openings. We'll roll out a feature. Maybe some staff didn't catch it yet. We'll show it to them, and you'll just see it on their face and say, "Hey, this is something this is going to cut half of my day down." And then they kind of look and go, is that a good thing or is that a bad thing?" I said, "Well, now you can get more stuff done, but you guys just gotta keep moving with us."
Yeah, I think the big thing for tech is when I talk to, especially franchisees who aren't tech savvy at all, admittedly will say that, it cuts a lot of the intimidation out because it's there, it's in front of them. They become sort of tech experts because of the system, and I think that's something you hear about from a lot of the franchisees and the staff. I've been to a few locations. I want to hit on PayStation a little bit, and sort of, I know it's being rolled out right now, or it's being tested out. Where do you see that going?
That's a tough question to answer on here. I mean, a lot of the development in PayStation is in the labs and top secret. We don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves with the public. We have a lot of things that we're very bullish on. I can tell you that you will be able to move around money from store to store. This is a new way of handling cash that has never been seen before. It's never been done before. We will have a competitive advantage in several different ancillary markets outside of the secondhand market just by having that last mile cash network. A lot of cool things to come with PayStation. That's been in development now for 2 years. We have 5 working models that are out, and we're beating them up and getting them used to the daily activities on there to release them across all the stores. So we're very confident in it, and we're very excited to debut it. We just need a little bit more time on it.
What's been your proudest moment in all the tech that you put in to date?
I think the proudest moment would be just seeing the franchisees scale and using the system. Again, you have to get out, you have to visit your stores as a franchisor, you have to talk to the staff, the management, the franchisees, and when you're walking through these stores, it could be in New York, California, Texas, whatever it may be, you see the staff working effortlessly on a platform that you built. Right, so you see them using it, and maybe you're standing next to them, and they're not entirely sure who you are, or they know you might be the president or CEO, but they don't know really the struggles and the experience and the time and the effort that went in over the years to build this. When they just kind of come in and with their coffee, log in and start working. So I'd say that's a proud moment. It's something that not many people get to feel. So I take it in.
And you guys have been road warriors the past few months visiting those stores. Anything else you want to hit on that I'm missing?
Just with all these tech efforts, one of the things that I think is important to share is that we're still trying to be the company that's making the difference globally with electronic waste and data privacy, and we get wrapped up in technology and the fun, cool stuff. But our stores are recycling 10 to 25,000 pounds per store per year. We have 53 stores that are currently open. We're opening another 70. We're slated to open 500 and change over 4 different countries over the next several years. So, that impact is something that we're passionate about, and I just wanted to get that out there and say that you can make a difference, but you have to start small, and that's what we did, and we're starting to really see the momentum backing up on that. So, just wanted to add that. And
there's also that I believe you sort of guys put a number on the economic impact of a PayMore store in the community. That's right. So, when we come into a community, we're not only hiring and having a locally owned store that's bringing revenue back into their families and local businesses, but on average, we're putting back in anywhere from $500,000 to $750,000 per year back into the community in cash and credit. So, people are coming in and we're dispersing that, and those monies are being spent in local businesses and in that local economy. So we're jump-starting any area that we move into. Aside from that, we reduce fraud, we protect data. We've become the place where people can come trade things very easily, safely, data safe, but also not meeting up with a stranger or shipping out a device to a website that's promising you X amount and they never deliver. So we like to illustrate that in those numbers, but we have a pretty big economic impact in the local communities aside from the e-waste reduction. That's awesome. So, I don't know if I have anything else. Unless there's anything else you're like, hey, let's touch on this.
just keep a watch on us, and get into one of your local stores, meet the local owners, meet the staff. They're all great. Let's see if we can help you out. And from a franchising perspective, we have a lot more things that we're rolling out, and stay tuned. So we're only getting started.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, thanks, Eric. I'm sure I'll see you soon, and appreciate your time, and looking forward to the next pre-discovery day call.
Likewise, Nate. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. See ya.